Why is it not recording? Okay, it's recording now. All right, everybody. So just relax, okay? So this is not, something enjoyable, okay? But yeah, sometimes it is something that you feel that you need to write because you want to contribute, okay? You have done something in the lab, or you have done a lot of study, literature study, and you want to contribute your knowledge to the public, okay? So this is writing all about, okay? When we talk about scientific writing, of course, it is related to scientific achievement, where the achievement is done, means the experiment is done by you, or you are doing literature. Okay, for example, you are doing the latest 2 years summary on that particular field. For example, you want to know what people have done for the last 2 years on drug delivery, for example, related to certain types of cancer. Okay, you are very interested in, and you do the literature, you compile all those literatures from books, probably from some good journals, and you have all the informations. So you know you have the knowledge now. So might as well you organize your knowledge and write it in a form of literature review or review paper. Literature is for usually we referring to proposal, thesis, but when you publish it, we call it a review paper. It is still a scientific writing, and it is a scientific writing in a form of review paper. So if you view that particular practice as a contribution to the public, okay, I mean, you feel good about it because you have, you contribute to the knowledge. So it's not something that you have to do it. But for me, as an academician, I have to do it. I mean, it is my part and parcel of my being an academician. But if you're a researcher in private institution or any even not a researcher, but you have done something and it is publishable, you can do it. Okay? It does not have to be an academician, does not have to be a lecturer, but you can, anyone can publish actually. Why is it not moving? Okay. Who writes and publish? Okay. Some people write, but they don't publish. They write in their own journals, their own logbook, some observation. Okay. Because observation does not have to be related to experiment. Of course, commonly when we do experiments, we observe. Okay. We observe the output, the outcome of the experiments, and we log it. Yeah, we put it in a logbook. Okay, so those things are publishable. Okay, of course there are some characteristic. How to evaluate whether the data or the whole set is publishable or not, or it might be just remain in the logbook. Okay, logbook is very important. Okay, I'm not saying that whatever that you write in your logbook is actually your property. But in university, if you are working under specific grant, mean that specific amount of money being paid for your chemicals, for your consumables, okay, the logbook, okay, that you own is not actually yours. Yeah? Because whatever outcome that you observe and you put it in a logbook, is actually belong to the university. Yeah, you have to know that. It is not common understanding, but by right, it is. If you are supported by certain grants, especially because whatever that you pay for fees is not actually supporting the chemicals, the consumables, because those are supported by special grant. So whatever results obtained is owned by the university, including your logbook. Okay, so logbook is considered unpublished material. And also, some part remain in your thesis. Some part still remain in your thesis, means that you write, but you don't publish. So thesis is not considered a published scientific writing. It is a scientific writing, but in thesis. So it is not published. So first and foremost, well, this slide is not mine. This slide is by someone else who taught this part before. So who can write and publish is beyond this person. Okay, it's beyond these people. It's not just researchers. You can work in private industries. Sorry. You can work in industries and you can publish. Okay, it's common practice now. Or you can collaborate with academicians in universities. Okay, like myself, I can collaborate with Zawa and I can publish together. Okay, that's quite common now, and it is encouraged to do that. Okay, to have a collaborating what we call as co-authoring together, university and industries. So don't limit yourself that, yes, of course, you don't, it is not a requirement for you to publish because you're not doing master by research. But as I mentioned just now, that it is something that you do because you want to share the knowledge with public. You have done something, you have studied something, some literatures, and you find it very significant. You share it with some others, yeah, so that the knowledge can be shared with others, and other peoples can benefit from the knowledge that you has organized into a review paper. All right, okay. Oh, okay, this one I think I have told you the significance of the publishing. Of course, for us academicians, it is something that has to be done yearly. If not, then we cannot get marks. Okay, and annual marks. Okay, so but as I mentioned, one is knowledge sharing. You can see the knowledge is in permanent searchable record, means that you can is going to stay there for sometimes, maybe, I don't know. I think like now it's going to stay there for many, many, many years. Okay, and if you write a good one, you can get a credible, yeah, means that you can get recognition, whether it's national or international level. If you write a good one, you share a good knowledge, okay, you can get credits from them, from your publications. People know you from your writing. Okay, so one is you share knowledge, the other one you get credit for your publication. Okay, but if you choose not to publish, for example, you want to keep it in a logbook, you want to keep it in your thesis, but you don't want to share it, well, the knowledge is there, probably is too good to be shared. You want to share, or you want to make it into something commercializable, then it's yours. Okay, you don't have to publish, you don't have to share it, because you know it's so precious that one day you want to create a new company and use that knowledge to do business. Then you don't have to you don't have to publish. Okay. All right, it is one something. Okay, database. I think we have discussed this during the early discussion when we talk about the Dr. Muhammad. He talks about the Q1, and he talks about the sources that you can search, the journals, good journals, quality journals. Okay, so those are things that you have to get used. Just a moment, yeah. Just a moment, sorry.
Aku bakal putar balik. Iya, bakal di. Tapi sedih. Ayo maju. Pas kurta. Ya. Nah. Dia kecil ke dah?
Sorry, just a moment, okay? Sorry, just a moment. So sorry. All right. Okay. So sorry. So I think this part has been covered at the early part. So I hope by now you should be able to differentiate, okay, between not to say between the quality of journals that you want to refer to and the sources that you can use. Okay, as written here, UPM subscribe Science Direct, which is very expensive. So you should, by right, utilize this. Utilize this to access through your library. Okay, if you are a registered UPM student, by right you should have all this. Okay, all right. So I think this shouldn't be an issue anymore, because we have done this quite sometimes. Yeah. And then you have done all the AI software that can help you to, manage all this. All right. Okay. Okay, these are types of articles, means that types of articles that is published. Yeah. I told you that the one that is not published is in thesis or in logbook. Yeah. So that one is not considered as articles. Okay. It is considered as unpublished data. Usually when you put it in your thesis, sometimes you can refer in your reference, it is referred as unpublished data. Okay, sometimes you can do that, but it's not really encouraged, because people cannot access any unpublished data. Okay, people can access published data, not all, of course, but unpublished data is totally private. So yeah, most of the time we use reference, which are published data. Okay, I think you have some of you, probably, I hope all of you by now, because you have done the assignment on literature review, developing proposal. So by right, you have familiarized yourself with full article. Means that full scientific paper, means a set of data, a set of experiments, published data, published scientific paper. Okay. And you have done also, okay, we have discussed quite a lot on review, because it's the same process like writing a literature review. Of how to write a literature review is a similar process on how to write a review paper. Okay, the difference is review paper is published, literature review that you write for your proposal is not published. It is there in for your record keeping and for your supervisor, probably for evaluation. Okay, there is one called short communication. Okay, short communication can be scientific paper, means that all the experiments, all the methods are there, or it can be also a short review. Okay, so short communication is of course much shorter and simpler to write. Depends on, but then not all journals, not all publishers allow short communication. So you have to look at the journal website, okay, whether they allow short communication or they don't allow. Okay, so you have to read the terms properly. Of course, this is we'll go to this based on actual example. Okay, we look at the papers itself. Okay, all right. So recently, I forgot to keep that articles. They talk about paper retracted. Okay, what does it mean? Paper being retracted, meaning that when we publish, okay, when we publish in scientific journals, okay, someone somewhere read your publications and found something, for example, for her or for him, there's something weird. Okay, so he or she has the right to write to the publisher, okay, and challenge, okay, challenge the published article itself, challenge the data, challenge the results, challenge the conclusion, whatever in the articles can be challenged. So please be careful. Okay. I have that experience being challenged, but it's not because of I have done something wrong. The paper was right, but this person was, I don't know why, it's not really, qualified. Even a small detail, he tried to calculate for me and then found something wrong. But we of course response back to the publisher, to the editor, and then we provide proper calculation showing that we are correct. Okay. So if not, I mean, if I was not able to answer properly, and if there is significant flaw, yeah, on the results itself, and the publisher has the right to retract, means that remove the paper out from the system, from their journal. So there is a report this year that Malaysia is in is in the list. There are, I think, I don't remember how many countries involved. So the first one is from China. Okay, the highest numbers on retraction of papers is quite logical because China is number one in publishing right now in terms of numbers. I think Malaysia is actually in the list. Is in the top 10, so which is not good. Means that some of the papers are not of certain quality, where the papers has to be retracted, taken out from the journals. Means that there is significant flaws in terms of data, probably, or in terms of any other that is challenged by the readers. Yeah, so it can happen. We can be challenged, and the published papers can be retracted. Of course, when this happens, this will affect the authors, not just you as the main author, but the rest of the authors. Okay, the rest of the authors in the list, okay, that exists in the paper, that is listed in the papers, will be affected in terms of credibility. Okay, so be careful when people want to put your names, even though you are happy, okay, yeah, I'll be co-authoring that paper. But you must make sure the paper is of good quality. Again, I have the same experience, because sometimes you have, like myself, I have to like co-supervise students. We don't have time to look at all the papers that we co-supervise, because the main supervisor is supposed to be responsible. Okay, the main supervisor is supposed to be responsible. We as the co-supervisors, we have our own students, our own papers to look after. So so let's say the students that we co-supervise has published something what we call as probably double publishing. Okay, maybe it was not intentional. It was sent to another journal, and then the same thing was sent to different journals, which is not supposed to be. Okay, you have to withdraw the first one and then submit to the second one. Okay, we have to withdraw first before you want to resubmit, yeah, to the new journal. Okay, so those are ethics, yeah, that things that you have to take care because this involve credibility of course you, the main author, and also the rest of the authors. This can result into a big issue. Yeah. All right. So this one, I will show you examples, of course. When can your work be published? Okay. Where do you stop? How much do you need? Usually this is the questions. How much do you need in order to have a publishable results? Okay. When do you know that the results is complete? Okay. All right. So this is something that you cannot just measure. There is no like you need to have 4 results, 5 results. You have to know where you want to publish. Okay, if you want to publish at tier 4, for example, Q4, then you know you don't have to go very deep. Because tier 4, Q4, they requires probably superficial. Okay, you have some characterization. You have UV, you have XRD, you have FTIR, for example, and you have some preparations, methods of preparation. So probably that is enough for Tier 4 journal. Okay. Even Tier 4 also, there is a series of even in Tier 4 also there is a higher Tier 4, lower Tier 4. So how do you know? Is you have to read, for example, if I want to publish in Journal of Chromatography, for example, is in Elsevier. So it's a very high tier journal. Okay. So what I can do is I have to read a lot of papers from those journals published in Journal of Chromatography. Okay, I have to look at what standards they are now, because the standards actually different from last year to this year, or from the last 2 years, or the next 2 years. Usually, of course, usually it goes higher. It does not go to lower standards. Sometimes it goes to lower standard, but it goes higher. So you need to keep up with that standard. If you want to publish at that particular journal, you have to read the latest papers, the latest published papers from that particular journal to understand what is the benchmark. Okay, you need to know the benchmark. Okay, so that is how you know when the results is compatible or complete for you to publish at that tier, at that particular, in that particular journal. If it is not, then I would say that you will be wasting your time, because the moment that you send, it will be a reject outright. So what is a reject outright? It is not even sent for revision process. Okay, it will just the editor will just reply back, for example, rejected. Okay, so even sending the publication as well is a time-consuming process. So that's why you have to do a bit of homework, decide which journal that you want to submit to by reading some examples of their latest, not 2 or 3 years before, latest published papers in that particular journal, and you know how deep they go, or they are not that deep, they are just your level, for example, then you understand. Okay, right. I will show an example later. What I meant by, is it requires a deep one, or is it requires a superficial one? Okay, you actually know even if you read the journals. Okay, so that is how you decide on whether you have a suitable results to be published in that particular journal. Yeah. All right. Okay. Okay. Manuscript structure. As you can see, this is common. This is very common. So the best is by looking at examples. So I'm not going to discuss this one by one, because the best is looking from example. But title is very important because, as you know, the editor will read the title first. The editor is the one who has the power to go for the next stage, for revision. Okay, revision means that, not revision. The editor will send, okay, the submitted papers to be reviewed. Reviewing process, not revision, reviewing process. Okay, so if the editor read the title and find it very mundane, very boring, very out of date, then automatically the editor will just reject outright. Reject outright means that you don't even have, you cannot resubmit. You cannot resubmit to that particular same journal. Okay, so title has to show novelty, the new thing that you want to highlight in your work. All right. So if it is very mundane, very general, there's nothing new in the title, even though you have new things in your write-up, but it is not there in the title, you might miss it. I mean, the editor might miss it. So title is very important. Yeah, take some time to look at the title. Okay, this is a very big issue. Okay, if it is thesis, then it's fine because it's your name and it's your supervisor's name. It's very straightforward. Okay, but in papers, okay, this can be very tricky. Okay, who's going to be the first? Who's going to be the second? Who's going to be the corresponding author? So this can sometimes be what we call as mind-boggling. Okay, but those names that can be listed in the papers must have made substantial contributions. Okay. When we talk about substantive or substantial contribution to the outcome, starting from those collecting data, means that do the experiment, usually the students, okay, is the one that do the experiments, collecting the data. Of course, the second one is who writes the paper. Sometimes students do the experiments, but the writing part is done by someone else. Can be that way. And then probably someone writes, but someone review, make a major correction, and someone made a major correction in terms of figures, languages. So those can be considered as substantive or substantial contribution to the papers. Yeah, it is there. The doers to do the experiment, the one who wrote the crude paper, who review it, do the major correction, and probably someone who write the figures, do the correction for the languages, you know, make sure the figures are nice, because if you want to send for publication, the figures must be very good, must be very clear. All types of contribution is also considered a substantive contributions. I mean, the main authors should know who has given a significant contribution to the paper production. Okay, so you can see these are what we call as substantive contributions. Yeah, drafting, final version, accuracy, figures quality, language editing. Those are very important because we publish in English. And unless, I mean, the main author is very good in English, he or she might not be very good in discussion of scientific discussion. So things, this requires a collaboration. So this requires a collaboration. That's why you see some papers have very long list of authors. Okay, so that's what happened. So the issue is who's going to be the first authors, who's going to be the what we call as corresponding authors. Okay, so common practice in university, not all, common. I'm saying common practice. The one who wrote it, the crude one, usually the students wrote the crude one before major corrections and all that. And the one who do the experiment should be the first one, the first name. Okay. Since the project, okay, because it's science project, it is sponsored by the supervisor's grant, and because the research is attached to the university, So the supervisor has to be the corresponding. Okay, corresponding means that the email or the corresponding email should be the supervisor. Means that any future corresponding should be correspond to the email of the supervisor. So any liability on the papers, as I mentioned, the retraction, somebody challenge, should be the responsibility of the supervisor. Okay, because the email, his or her email is there. But sometimes there are cases, like myself, I have that cases as well. We have more than one what we call corresponding author. The first author is done, I mean, by the students, by the one who doing experiment. For example, I have a sort of a 50-50 collaboration with Zawa, let's say. And then when we publish, of course, the industry wish to have the as mean means corresponding of the published scientific data. And university also wants the the corresponding as well. So we can have more than one corresponding author. So means that you can have 2 emails of corresponding author in that particular paper. Usually 2. There are cases of 3, but it's not common. Usually 2. Yeah, 2 corresponding authors. Yeah. Right. So this dispute, whatever dispute, has to be solved prior to publish. Okay, you cannot have like disputes when the paper or whatever that you submit has been accepted, and then you have disputes among the authors. Then it's going to be difficult. So all these disputes must be solved before the publish process. Okay. So again, this is the same process, abstract, okay? So I don't want to go through this because we have done this so many times. Keywords, introduction, methods, um, results, figures, conclusions. Yeah. All right. So this one I don't want to like go into detail because I just want to show the real example. Yeah. So I'm going to switch to one paper. Okay. So Hindawi, yeah, there's some disputes that paid journals are not of good quality like MDPI. But my experience is it has to go to a series of reviewers, and the review process is not easy. Um, why sometimes we choose paid journals? Because it is open access. When we have open access, open access means that many publics can access the papers. You don't have to subscribe it because subscription can be very expensive. So if you publish in open journals, open access journals, everybody can access it if you have Googles. Yeah. If you can download from internet, then everybody can access. So it is reachable by more people. And it is a good credibility or reputation. I mean, in terms of reputation as well to you. Okay. So when you read about, okay, some Hindawi or MDPI is not acceptable, it's about business sometimes. It's about rival between business. Because personally, when we want to publish in these open access journals, the review process is very strict. It's not like you submit and then you get it. No, it has to be a proper work done and is properly reviewed. Yeah. All right. So I'm showing the structure of one types of scientific paper. This is called scientific papers. Yeah, scientific papers. Okay, so because I work a lot recently on tuberculosis, so you see my papers on tuberculosis. So this is Hindawi was third tier. Okay, it's a third tier journal before. I think it's a third tier or second tier. So it's not tier 1. It's not Q1. So it's tier 2 or tier 3. I don't remember. Because these tiers, not tears, yeah? Not crying, the tiers, Q1, Q2 or Q3, whatever, it change every year. Depends on how good the perception of readers towards that particular journals. How many people cites. Okay, so when I publish, I think it's around tier 2 or tier 3. So you can imagine this is tier 2, not tier 1. And then another reason that we publish in open access journal is because of the process in terms of publish is quite fast, because some of the students requires they need to publish 2 papers for PhD, 1 paper for master in order to graduate. So I mean, all students want to graduate. So to help them, that's why sometimes we publish in open access journals. Okay, so you can see from the structure, where is it? You see here correspondence. Yeah, so this is what we call as corresponding author. And you can see the first author is the students who write the crude papers, who do the experiments. Okay, and then you have this myself as the corresponding. Yeah, corresponding should be addressed to my email. And since I have helped also, because at that time I have around 20 postgraduates who are doing research, and everybody wants to finish early. Everybody wants to publish. So I can't do things very fast, reading everything. So I have my postdoc. Yeah, this is my postdoc, Dr. Fatima before. So she helps with the editing, with the looking at the graph, looking at the figures, the quality of figures, and she look at the structures. She look at the languages as well. So she has major contribution to this paper, and you can see she is also one of the corresponding author. Okay, all right. So you see that the title is quite straightforward, because it's, in this case, it's a master project. Yeah. So lateral flow immunoassay is about lateral flow, and it is for tuberculosis. Okay. And then you have the affiliation. This is called affiliation of that particular authors. Like I myself, I have 2 affiliation. One is institute, one is faculty. You can have that. You can have even 3 affiliation, because you represent 3 affiliations. And you can see we work together with someone from different universities. Okay, those are very common. Yeah. Because we need help from others. We need help from other experts as well. So that's why we have this. Yeah. Okay, the structures, introduction, the abstract, these are things that you have. No, don't worry. Things that we have discussed so many times. The same structure, the same introduction. But of course, since the work, when you publish, the work depends on the scope that you want to publish, because you don't publish the whole thesis into one paper. The whole thesis can be probably you can have 2 papers out of 1 thesis. Okay, for masters or for PhD, you might have 3 papers. So depends. So the introduction will depends on the scope of the published data. So here, I'm just going to scroll through. So when you submit, you have to look at the publisher's website. What is the format that you need to publish? That you need to send. Sorry, you need to send. They are very particular about the format of the reference, the format of how you should put the methods. You have to read all the formats by the publisher and be very particular. If not, then you're gonna be rejected. I mean, you send and be rejected straight away. So I think I have mentioned also the quality of figures, the colors. You cannot submit figures that is not clear, that is not high resolution. So that's why, like myself, I need help from someone who can do this to get a good resolution, to get a good figures, to draw. Yeah, I don't have time to do that. So that's why I have assistants. Okay. Yeah, to draw these kind of things. So you have, it's like a small scale thesis. Yeah, you have materials and methods. Probably the way that you write materials and methods are different. So you have to read, yeah, to the examples from that particular journals, and then you write it. Okay, so you can see this method section, conjugations, blah blah blah, pictures again. The arrangement of pictures will be done by the publishers once it is accepted. So you don't need to worry about that because they need to squeeze, they need to save pages. So that one, you don't need to worry. The crude one, you will submit based on their format, and then they will rearrange. Yeah, don't worry about that. All right, and then to still the method section. Okay, and then result and discussion. So, I mean, similar to what we have discussed in thesis. Okay. Still, even it is tier 2 and tier 3, you can see how deep we need to go. Okay, how deep we need to, send to the publisher in order to get published. So it's not that easy anyway. It's not that easy. Okay, you can see the discussion, the pictures, and then conclusions. Okay, and of course, for us academicians, we are very particular about the acknowledgement because we need to acknowledge the grant provider. If not, then we are doomed. I really need to acknowledge the grant provider. Okay, you can see the references. Okay, depends on the journal publishers. Which do you want to? Sometimes they have different formats. Okay, so I'm going to show you another 2 examples. This is a simpler one, the latest one. So this is not related to census. So quite, that's why I'm showing you. So this is a composite, yeah, for removal of mercury. So, but still, it's a similar structures. You have the first author and the corresponding author. And then the title. So here we would like to highlight a combination of nanoporous carbon with some metal nanocomposite. Oh, that's the new thing. And well, we put the name green absorbent. And then you have the extract, introduction. Okay, let me go. Introduction, you can have tables, just like your literature review, and materials and methods. Yeah, drawings, you still have to draw. And then result in discussion, characterizations. You can see here, okay, how much characterization do you need? So here we have BET, we have FTIR, and then we have XRD, FISAM, okay, pH, absorption, quite a lot. Quite a lot in order for us even to be accepted. So this is tier 2 journal. Okay, so you can imagine if it is tier 1. Right? I plan to just finish in 1 hour. Okay, so that's why I don't want, because it's not much. Okay, I'm going to move to tier 1 journal. Okay, all right, so this is not my paper. I have tier 1, but I prefer to show you a real tier 1. Okay. So you can see this is published by ACS, American Chemical, what is it? But it's a tier 1. Even tier 1 also that has a top 10% tier 1, top 5% tier 1, top 1% tier 1. Okay, you can imagine top 1% is nature, those kind of things. Okay, so this is ACS. I believe it is top 10% tier 1, I think. So you can imagine how novel the work is. Okay, it's a wearable nano paper for sweat analysis. Okay, so try to look at um, the title, the words used, how they they show how good their people are. Okay, so the word, because this is trendy for those who are working in sensors, the word wearable, multiplex. Multiplex means that you can detect a lot of things in one time. Okay, the use of sweat. So these are new things for those who work in this area. They know what are the new things. So yeah, okay. So this is quite recent, 2023. So now, whenever that you submit, you need to also submit what we call as graphical abstract. So this is the graphical abstract. This is not the normal abstract. So introduction, similar structure, even though it's tier 1, tier 2, but it's how you convince people this is something new, this is not common. Those are very important. Okay, what Q1 or tier 1 journal is looking for is the novelty. Okay. So you can see that the novelty in terms of nano papers, okay, how the chitin nano paper responds to sweat, okay. A very clear wearable system, and it looks very complicated. Okay, all right. Okay. Right, and the practical one, even though it also integrate engineering parts, and they have the software also. So you have IoT, you have chemistry, you have engineering blended together in one work. So experimental section, yeah, okay. Very detailed. You can see it is very detailed. The software, the mobiles application, yeah. And then the prototype itself, the results. I'm still reading this. It's difficult for me to understand because the nature of the IoT, even the engineering part. Okay. Okay, so now you can see, you should by now see the difference, yeah, between tier 1, tier 2. I haven't showed you tier 4. I haven't showed you tier 4, but I think you can just read tier 4 types of journals. Yeah. This is something that can be done. You can read, you can access now the tier 1, and you can differentiate between tier 1 and tier 2. I mean, it's okay if you want to start with tier 3, tier 4 is fine. Okay, last one is I'm going to show a review paper. Okay, so this review is from a PhD thesis that I have shown you many times. The literature review part, which is the chapter 2, is published. Yeah. So that's why I really encourage, when you write literature review, write a proper one, because in the end you can publish your literature review. So this is my former students, Dr. Jawaharlal or Dr. Jawar. Okay, so you can see this is types of title when we talk about review paper. Yeah, so it's more on, like, the title is quite general. Still, you need to have introduction. Probably you can do experimental section, because in this case, he introduced some experiment, even though it's a review paper. Yeah. So I don't know why the structure is a bit weird, but it can be done. Oh, this is not a review. All right, sorry. I should have shown you a real review journal. Okay. Because the title is Strategies for the Preparation. So I think it's a mixture of review and some scientific, experiment involved. But the last part is books. Okay, writing is also can be in a form of books or chapters in book. Means that you are invited to contribute as part of the books. Yeah, so you contribute one chapter, or you can write the whole book. Okay, so writing a book requires a lot of time. Yeah, if you choose to write a book, then there's so many styles. There are so many styles. You can depends on the publisher who agree to publish your books. So these are different forms of publications that you can do. Of course, scientific journals, review papers, right? And also books. So I think that's it, because not so many things, because all the components have been discussed in our previous discussion. So the thing is, in order for you to publish, or if you're interested in publishing, you have to read first some examples, okay, from the publishers itself. Okay.